Let's make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if y'all not already subscribed. Cop the merch. I mean, Ace ain't got the merch,
It's
but you do
black-owned,
got a
man.
black-owned business on. Like,
Black-owned,
shout out to black-owned businesses, man. Make sure I listen to the podcast audio every Tuesday morning, 6 a.m. I do want to ask this question. And I thought y'all was gonna have one of y'all other friends on, so I wanted to really ask her this. But since y'all here, I want to ask this question: what do y'all think is the cultural perception of Black women? And do you feel like platforms like Now That's TV or Zeus help contribute to that image or that perspective of Black women? What's your thoughts?
The perspective of Black women.
What do you think the cultural perspective of Black women is?
Like what Black people think of Black people?
Just what the world thinks of Black women right now.
I think the perception is definitely changing. I definitely think, people think, we can be loud, we can be ignorant, but I feel like if you really focus in on that, I feel like platforms like maybe like Zeus, I don't really watch too much, but from what I've seen from clips on TikTok, it's like a setup to be those type of people, you know what I'm saying? Loud or just, like we don't come correct, all the time. So I feel like, TV is a place where people push narratives. So if you're pushing that narrative, then yeah, that's what it's gonna look like. But I'm around a lot of like, Black women that, that come correct, So my perception may not be that, but like, I can see how that's pushed out there,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. So my problem with it is that there's no balance. So like everybody loves a good ratchet TV show, but where's the balance of like the educated Black women that are like, because now I think Black women are like one of the most educated groups in America. Like, why aren't we seeing both? So I think like because of the narratives that are being pushed in mainstream media is part of the problem, because they don't just show the other side of it too.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think you don't see a lot of women that carry themselves with a sense of decorum, because that is the narrative that everyone wants to see. Everyone wants to see somebody fighting, the drama. No one's really being a girl's girl. Everyone's being catty, but it sells, so that's what you're getting. So you're going to get the snippets. You're going to see that. You're not going to really see the camaraderie or the sisterhood. And when you do get it, it's rare and you enjoy it, because most of us, we really got a good group of friends. They solid. But when you get crazy, it get crazy.
It get crazy.
But it's not a day-to-day thing. Like, I don't think anybody truly lives like that. So a lot of people got to separate reality from reality TV. Like, the truth.
Yeah.
You say you got a good group of friends?
I absolutely do.
How long y'all been friends?
I got a few groups of friends, you know.
Okay.
Different groups.
I
for
really
different
do.
things.
But my longest relationship, hold on, so maybe like 24 years.
Oh, really?
Wow.
And then like my core group of girlfriends I met out of high school.
Yeah.
Hold on, I can't do math. 16 years.
Okay.
So
That's a blessing.
And
no
birthday dinners got in the way or nothing. Like,
Oh, girl.
we've had birthday dinners. We've got into bros and AC. We've done it all, like seeing each other at our lowest, at our peak. And right now, you know, life is really just life, but we are always there for all the important things. One of our girlfriends moved and we all sent the gift and we all couldn't fly out because everybody was doing so many different things. And, you know, we just all show up how we can.
That's refreshing to hear. Y'all the same too?
So yeah, I think I have a solid group of girlfriends, but there are the little straddlers that came along the way that shit didn't really work out because like we weren't on the same, you know, frequency, I would say. But I think like those things are like often revealed through like trips. And like trips is a big one. Like so like one of my homegirls, so I'm from Trinidad. So every year I'm going to Carnival. As long as I can walk and I'm breathing, I'm going. So we took her to Trinidad. She wanted to go with the rest of like the regular group. So it's the straddlers and like the regulars. So the straddler like was fighting with everybody and just being so combative, and we're just not like that within like the regular circle. So like that was one situation, but because I travel a lot, there were other situations where the same thing happened. So I'm just kind of like, okay, you can't travel with everybody. Like, your solid friends that okay, the finances are good. Everybody could pay for what they need to pay for. They get along. Like, it just doesn't happen with any and every friend. So I think like having friends for like different reasons is also important.
For sure.
Yeah, I think I always say this, the female friendship dichotomy, it needs to be studied. I swear to God. Like, you know what I'm saying? They need to make a documentary on this because it's so fascinating. It's just so fascinating, especially when I hear about the girls' trip, the birthday parties, and the little things that is to men is very minuscule, but y'all will lose friendships over this shit. I'm like, it's not even that deep to us. Like, you know what I mean? But then again, when we'll say men don't have as deep of a friendship or whatever the case is, or a bond or whatever. Ace, going back to the topic, what's your thoughts on the cultural perception of Black women nowadays?
Yeah, I agree with what the lady said. I think it used to be portrayed as like the ghetto, loud or whatever, but I do think it's making a change. As far as perception, but in the media, I don't know if it's changing because I still see the same things. But I remember like back in the day, they used to have like girlfriends on TV and they all had solid jobs like doctors, lawyers, and everything. Like you don't see the balance no more. But I do think it's changing because Black women are the most educated. They get into the bag, you know what I'm saying? And they always say on the show, you know what I mean? Shout out to them, man.
Shout out to the Black women.
I think I do think in the media there is a negative portrayal of Black women, just like there is a negative portrayal of Black men. I think the over-sexualization, the narrative of the angry Black woman, I think those, these are stereotypes, but obviously if they're being pushed in media, we as Black people, we understand the differences, the nuances, like, you know what I'm saying? We know every Black person is like that, but if you from I be looking at like sometimes people outside races looking at Zeus, or they looking at what are these clips online, and they're seeing the worst of the worst, or they're listening to our music, seeing the music videos, and they're seeing the worst of the worst depiction of our community. Of course they're going to develop some type of stereotype, you know what I mean? And that's how we keep perpetuating these stereotypes amongst other people, or when groups look at us, they don't know nothing besides just twerking or gang banging or whatever the case is. So I think, like you said, there does need to be that balance. But unfortunately, media like only works in a negative. People only like to see negative. Like, you know what I mean? We see that with our podcasts all the time. When we have the productive conversations, they don't do as good. But once many you have a wide Eli, the motherfuckers are sharing and liking, and it's just like these platforms, like the negative stuff always like this goes viral. People want to share it more. People feel more attached to it. They want to engage more. They feel triggered by it. You know what I mean? So that type of stuff does tend to headline the media and stuff. Like, nobody cares about productive relationships. Like, I can't relate to that. Like, you know what I mean? Unfortunately, so.
People do. Like, some people care about that stuff. Like, there are certain platforms that I won't even follow because it's like, it's constant negativity. So it's like you're constantly feeding your brain, especially like me. I do spend time on social media. So I think a person that's individual gets to that point of like, okay, like I understand what social media does, and I want to sort of like feed myself better and more. I think people will begin. And I think that comes with age, and I think that comes with experience, so. Yeah,
but the age, I think it does come with age, but at that time you're already tuned into your own thing, so you're not really even engaging with the content like that. So like people don't even, like, I know productive, like healthy marriages, but they're not on social media talking about how good their marriages are. Like, so you don't even know they exist. Like, you get what I'm saying? By the time you come to that realization of maturity, you're already off the social media that at this point, it don't even resonate with you. You're not going to share the content anyway. So that productive conversation that you watch, like, you most likely not going to share because you already have your own thing. So that stuff doesn't get pushed into the media like that. Like, I tell people all the time, what social media works is very simple. Like, engagement, views, engagement, and shares is what pushes the content into the algorithm. You get what I'm saying? So when people say, yo, why am I always seeing this? It's because you're engaging with it. Like, even you engaging with the comment and saying, damn, this is, take away the microphones or whatever. You still engaging with it. It's still pushing it into the algorithm, and it's going to see more. You. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so whether y'all don't like it or not, like, you engaging with the comment, whether it's a positive or negative, it's still going to push it out into the algorithm, and then more people is going to see it. You know what I mean? So,
but I think it also goes a little deeper than that, right? So, like, for instance, the narrative of like angry Black women or strong Black women, rather, that affects us in like a lot of ways. Like people tend to think we're like super women. So like, you know, they're not as anxious to help us. And you could see like in the United States, like when it comes to maternal mortality and stuff like that, Black women and brown women are dying in the hospitals because, oh yeah, she's fine. I remember like Serena Williams or somebody had an issue where she had like a blood clot, and she complained to the nurses, and they were just kind of like, ugh. But so like the question is, if she was a white woman, would she have gotten the help? She almost died, and she's a successful Black woman. So I think like the narrative of like strong Black women, it like really affects us in real life. You know what I mean?
It does.
This is true.
It does. Like I had an incident. I was in a pizza store, and some guy, some tall, you know, he was a Caucasian man. He started yelling at me, and I could tell that like he thought like I was about to be reactive to him, and I sort of like shrunk down as a person, like to show him like, I don't know where you got this from. Like I don't know why you thought like it was okay to like yell at another woman, because I just knew he wouldn't yell at the next woman like that. But it was just like, the moment he seen I wasn't gonna go back and forth with him, it was like he was sort of left with no choice also to like just back up, you know, treat me with respect. But I feel like as Black women, it may not always be like this yelling thing, but I feel like we feel that in other ways, like in the hospitals, you know, where it's like we can do whatever, you get what I'm saying? She's strong, you get what I'm saying? She's gonna fight back, you get what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, it's not like that. It's really not like that.
I think words have real meaning, right? So, you know, we talk about this on the show a lot, but when Black women have this mantra of I'm strong, independent, and I don't need no man, that has been the mantra of a lot of Black women for the last like 20, 30 years. Like, you get what I'm saying? So when you put those words out into the world, then the world is going to look at you like, oh, you strong, you independent. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's right, but like I said, words have meaning. Like, you know what I mean? So if that is your mantra or your image as a Black woman, that you don't need anything, you did it on your own, you independent, or whatever the case is, people are going to treat you like that. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, that's like Superman going around saying, I'm strong. People going to look at, you think people would look at Superman like he need help? Like, no, they going to like, nah, he's Superman. Like, you get what I'm saying? So
well,
like,
yeah, I don't think it's, yeah, I was, go ahead.
Because I was just going to say, like, just because you show up and you have this confidence, right? That don't mean you don't need help. Now, I may not ask it because I may feel like you're not going to give it. But if you show up for me in ways that you've never shown up before, it's like, okay, I feel seen. A lot of the times as a Black woman, you work harder, right? And to show up to get your foot in the door, to be a part of the room, to be at the table. And it's just like, listen, you fight battles every day. We fight battles every day, behind closed doors, at work. So it's just like, no, in your most vulnerable state, like what she was saying about the hospital, I've experienced something similar. It's just like, why I have to act a damn fool to be serviced properly? I'm not in here being dramatic. I'm in pain. I'm saying I'm in pain. Figure it out. Help me figure it out. I didn't go to school for this. You did. So it sucks. It sucks, but you know, we're getting better. One thing I think I love the most about us women, you know, we advocate for ourselves, but not even just ourselves. We advocate for others.
Everybody.
Like, that's another thing. Majority of the women, Black women I know, we show up for everybody, regardless of your race, regardless of your sex. And we're not shown the same respect or support.
Yeah, to your own detriment. Like, you know, that's interesting that you even bring that up, because I seen an article about, you know, trans women and things of that nature. And I always say this: the biggest supporters of trans women have always been biological women. It has been biological women. I've seen a ton of Black women vouching that trans women are women. But now when they dominate the spaces, now women are upset. But I'm like, y'all are the biggest advocates. Ain't no man going around saying trans men are, like, you know what I'm saying? We know like there's two different things. So I think sometimes that can be a detriment to y'all, that y'all fight for everybody. And then when everybody is in, they get the access to things that y'all don't get to. You know what I mean? Like,
I can agree to that.
I can definitely
first,
agree
I think like we need to break some things apart here. So first of all, Black women aren't strong because we woke up wanting to be strong. A lot of times, the Black man is absent from the home, right? Whether it's because he's arrested, he's dead, or just sleeping with everybody. So like a lot of homes don't have a man, don't have a father. So what are we gonna do? Just like roll over? No, we gotta become everything that our children need. So a lot of like women that are very strong, and it's inherited now because it's kind of like, that's what we saw our moms doing. So now, what are we gonna do when the man walks out? We have to provide for our kids. So we have to be strong. We have to be mom and dad in a lot of situations. So I think like, yeah, we can say we shouldn't walk around like being strong, but we have to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I definitely think I do see Black men get put down, in the media, but I think really understanding like the role as a leader, because it's just like, yeah, like we could do, say Black women are strong, but it really starts at home. Like she said, it starts in the house. It starts with that Black boy, growing up without a Black father, and it becomes a cycle. Of course, every generational curse can be broken, but it's very important that that foundation, that begins at home, like begins to be more solidified, like in our community. I mean, even to go as far as to say, like, just more active older cousins, active uncles, that's so important. Manhood's so important. Like, I grew up with a lot of women in my life. I have my mother, but like, even the extra woman support, like, was filling in gaps. Even with my father, like, the other males in my life also filled in other gaps. So it's just like community is so important, and we need a better community. I mean, we're there, we're getting there, but community is important. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we always talk about community, how big that is. I think we have to get out of the age of everybody wanting to be independent, and we have to go to terms, use words like interdependent. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people don't even know that's a word. Like, you get what I'm saying? So I think everybody's so focused on being independent that we don't know how to be interdependent with one another. Like, you know what I mean? I think Black men, we don't have that luxury to say, man, I had my father in my life. I don't know how to be a good leader. Society tells us, nah, y'all got to figure that shit out. Like, nobody's going to give you that out, like, to be like, yo, I didn't have that father figure. Like, you know what I mean? So sometimes I feel like with women, we tend to give them a lot of excuses and luxuries that we wouldn't apply to Black men. Like, we understand the man wasn't in your house. We understand that you had to be raised a certain way, but that shouldn't come at the expense of the Black men next to you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when I see women all the time, like, me and Ace and Jew, we pride ourselves on being a productive Black men. Yeah. When we constantly run into the women that look like us saying they don't need us, or they don't need a Black man, or they independent, like, that type of stuff has an effect on the community. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think we just need to get back to community based. The nuclear family is important. Like, you know what I mean? So
yeah, like I think everybody needs to stop being like against each other. It's kind of like it's so divisive, and it just doesn't work for like the future generations. You know what I mean? So like I see a lot of people online like bashing men, women bashing men, men bashing women, and like there's this whole big single pool.
And it definitely has piss in it.
It is.
It's like we need each other. It goes together. It's not one without the other. I cannot procreate without a man. A man cannot procreate without me.
Right.
It's a joint venture here. And I feel like we need to get back to that because somehow it got lost. And, a lot of our grandparents were married and like probably still married if they're alive, till death really did them part. But nowadays, shit.
It's all systematic. Like, it's all systematic at the end of the day. They want to keep us divided, you know what I mean? And that's a whole nother topic we get to. But let me get to this next topic.